Welcome back to my channel, Mostly Paper Crafts. Last summer, I made a video with my fiance about making gel plate prints for beginners. It was his very first time, and I made a bunch of prints of my own. Well, those prints had been sitting around for almost an entire year, but I decided recently I should turn those into cards. And what I decided to do was take my pile of die cuts. Whenever I get new dies, I always do practice cuts just to see what they look like, and then I store them in baggies and in a small box, and it's kind of ridiculous actually, but I always have a collection of die cuts, and then I had this stack of jelly plate prints, and I thought, oh, let's turn these into cards. So I want to show you what I did. Now, I didn't think about making this into a video until after I had already started making my cards, so I don't have the original prints to show you that I used in my cards. These are the ones that Jared made. They also turned out really cool. I didn't use his because I want him to turn his into cards someday too, but it was really fun for us to make these together, and I will definitely link to the video where we created them below. This is the first card I made, and what actually inspired the whole rest of the project. I wanted to make a quick birthday card, and I remembered that I had all of those prints. Then I was thinking, oh, I have big dies to make happy birthday cards, and I had a bunch of these happy birthday to use already cut out in black. So I just had to cut it out one more time in the pink holographic, and then I added some sequins. So this happy birthday to you is from Lawn Fawn. You can see my jelly print in the back there. There's a lot of texture, a lot of different colors. And then I cut it out and matted it on a thin black frame. And it's on a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card base. So standard size A2 card. And I liked it so much, I decided I should make another one. So this one, same idea. I already had the happy birthday to you cut out in black. I just cut it out one more time with blue holographic paper. And this time, instead of adding sequins, I used some black stars that I already had die cut. Now, when I created these two cards, I was cutting down the prints that I made to make these panels, and so I had some scraps left over, and I thought, well, those are way too pretty to waste. So I lined them up on another sheet of paper, and then I ran them through my die cut machine with a stitched rectangle, also from Lawn Fawn, matted that on black, matted that on a piece of red cardstock from my stash, and then this time I did not do a shadow behind my happy birthday to you, but this card came together pretty quickly, and I got to use up all the scraps that were left over from these two. Now, I haven't had much time to do card making lately, but at this point, I already had all of my supplies out, and I thought, you know what, I should keep going. I have a bunch more prints, and I have so many die cuts that I could play with. So I went ahead and made another birthday card. You can see my jelly print in the background there, and then all of these dies that you see are things that I already had cut out. I just found ways to arrange them to make this happy birthday card. I really like this Sizzix die here with the champagne bottle. Popped it up on some foam. These stars coming out the top are really cute. They give it some really great dimension. The birthday cake in the background is from Hero Arts, and these little leaves are from Lawn Fawn. So the happy birthday to you is from Lawn Fawn. We've got Hero Arts, Sizzix, and I added some glitter to really make that champagne pop. By this time, I'd run out of the happy birthday to you die cuts, and I moved on to a thank you. I really liked this print with this glitter pattern paper that I found in my stash. This card is on craft. It's on a craft card base, and this succulent die is from Lawn Fawn as well. I added some glitter to that to match with my glitter pattern paper there, and this was a lot of fun to put together, and as you can tell, just a few steps. I had a few more of these succulents cut out. Whenever I get new dies, I always cut them out and play with them. They don't usually make their way onto cards, but they make their way into my little hoard stash. And so I thought, okay, well, I could use 3 of them with the rest of the panel that I used for this card. These are from the same panel. And I also used a cute little hello die cut. I put some glossy accents on that to give it some shine. And this is a Lawn Fawn mini slimline stitched rectangle there in the background. And then this card base is actually pattern paper from my stash. But lots of fun to create those little succulents. I'm glad they made their way onto a card. I really love this card. It's pretty random, but it's fun. I've got another print in the background and then a whole bunch of different die cuts. Again, just from my pile of things I was playing around with. The gnome, the stump, and the little fox are all from Lawn Fawn. The ferns here are from Hero Arts, and the Seriously is from Picket Fence. So mishmash of colors and die cuts and all sorts of fun things here, but seriously, it's turned out pretty cute. I was so pleased with how this next card came out too. Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle were matted on some paper from my scrap pile, and I loved this print. I loved the different patterns from the stencils, and I thought that no matter what I did with this, it was going to turn out beautiful. So these dies are from Sizzix, and I can't remember where the hello die is from right now. Gosh, I have so many scripty hello dies that it's hard for me to remember. If you recognize it, let us know down in the comments below. But I was very happy with how this card came out, and my cardstock here matches the hello, and then I also have some shimmer cardstock to give it a little shadow in the background. But all of this is either from my scrap pile or things that I'd already had cut out and prepared. We've got a Howdy card on craft cardstock next. Another one of my prints, of course. The Howdy and the Shadow die are from Kindred Stamps. The cowboy boot is from Hero Arts. We've got some pink cardstock from my scrap pile, and I thought this card was just adorable. I'm really glad that I got to use these. Sometimes when I play around with my die cuts, I tuck them onto my mirror just because I like looking at them, and so these are 2 that have been just tucked onto my mirror for months, and so I'm glad they finally made their way onto a card. Next, we have You Are the Best. This die is from Picket Fence Studios. We've got a daisy from Lawn Fawn, another one of my jelly prints, some paper from my scrap pile there. You Are the Best has popped up on some foam, and I thought that really came together well. When I had originally played around with this You Are the Best die, I'd used green cardstock, and after I did it, I was thinking, you know, I'm never going to end up using that. Why didn't I use black? But I actually really liked it with this print and with my daisy here. If you haven't used these inlay dies before, they are so much fun to put together. And what I've noticed is that when I get the dies, I always play with them, and then the pieces just go into my pile and they never get used. So very happy that I got to use several of them for these cards. All right, and the last card that I have for you today, really loved how this one came out. This is a big 5x7 card, and I pulled just a bunch of different elements together. I knew I wanted to make this bigger because I really liked this whole print panel and I didn't want to cut it down anymore. So we've got a star spiral in the background. I've had that cut for years. I have no idea where it came from. That same hello die from before, no idea. I believe these hibiscus flowers are from Sizzix, and this feather is definitely from Hero Arts, so I can tell you that. But a nice little collage of elements here. We've got velvet on the hello, we've got holographic paper for the spiral, glitter on our feather, and then of course all that beautiful texture on the jelly print. So this is a really fun card, and I'm really excited to be able to give this to someone. I left my pile out to share with you for this video so you can see kind of what it looks like, all the die cuts that I practice with. It's obviously a little bit smaller now since I did use up a bunch of my pieces, but there are those little glitter stars that I used on a card. I keep those a little more contained, but there's so many fun things in here, and I could just throw them away as I practice with them and play with them, but I don't. I keep them and hope for the best, and at least some of those did find a good home. So as I'm wrapping up, I'm just gonna do one more quick view of the cards that I made. I loved how quickly all of this came together. I really loved that pieces that I have created over the years finally found a home on a card. I absolutely loved all of these backgrounds that I created, and I think taking a break from them for a while made me appreciate them even more. Sometimes when we first create things, we are a little nitpicky about them and we're always criticizing our own work, but by putting them away for a year and looking at them again, I thought, wow, those are really nice. Those are good enough to put on cards for sure. So super fun. Maybe you have something similar you could do. If you don't have prints, maybe you have some patterned paper in your stash that's been dying to be used. And if you're anything like me and you like to try out all of your die cuts when you get them, maybe you have a stash too, and maybe you could make a dozen cards in an afternoon. Thanks so much for spending a little time with me. I hope that you're inspired to create some projects of your own. If you are, I'd love to hear about them in the comments below. Until next time, go make something beautiful.